Hi guys, welcome back. And if you're new, my name is Chris. Thanks for tuning in. I like to talk about perfumes, and on my last video I did a very large declutter, and I told you on my next video I was going to do part 2 of that declutter. Well, I'm doing a little pivot. I decided to do something lighthearted, and I'm going to do something a little bit fun, and that is to thank everybody in the YouTube community, including my subscribers, for introducing me to some lovely fragrances that I otherwise probably wouldn't have found on my own. I find perfumes lots of different ways. I smell them on someone, I smell them in a magazine, through a niche monthly subscription, or today it's because a lovely YouTuber got me interested in them. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. Now, before I get started, I did want to say thank you to everybody who participated in my declutter. Winners were, let's see who we have. Candy was a winner. Her name was pulled. And Pamela, congratulations. If your name is Melissa F. or Margaret B., contact me through my Gmail, theperfumenest@gmail.com. You are a winner and you get one of the bottles. So I'll wait to hear from you. If I don't hear from you, I'll just pull a couple other names. So I'll let that go for another week or so. All right, let's get started. I'm going to start the list with a bang. And this is a fragrance I heard about from Demi Rawling in 2019. And she talked about this being her holy grail fragrance, and it's a sandalwood fragrance, and that is Fragrance du Bois Santal Complet. I love sandalwood. I have several sandalwood fragrances in my collection, but I've been dying to get my hands on this one. And I held out because of the price, but I just did my declutter. So this is guilt-free shopping right here. This sandalwood is I would call it a tropical sandalwood. It has lemon, it has coconut, it has sweetness, it has vanilla, amber notes. I absolutely see myself wearing this all year round, but mostly probably in the hot weather. It's just a creamy, smooth, buttery sandalwood. I'm so glad I have this in my collection, and thank you, Demi Rawling, for this one. The next fragrance on the list is a fragrance I heard about from Tommelise. Now, I'm going to have my video editor, which is my son, try to put pictures of each YouTuber up somewhere up here. If not, he'll list everything down below. But anyway, so I watch Tommelise from time to time, and she makes no bones about the fact that she doesn't like designer fragrances. She just doesn't like them. She just thinks they're too mass appealing and they're not interesting. So when I heard her talk about this fragrance, it really kind of piqued my interest, because if she liked this designer fragrance, it was enough for me to look into. Not only that, but this fragrance has a note of sesame, and I like fragrances that are kind of out of the box, that they don't smell like anything else in my collection. I kind of like to smell like weird things sometimes, rice pudding, all sorts of things. But this is L'Interdit by Givenchy, L'Interdit. It's really hard for me to say, L'Interdit. Now, in French, this means forbidden. And I did my due diligence. I read reviews. I looked into the notes. It has notes of, it's really based on tuberose. And this is the Parfum Intense. I've never smelled the Eau de Parfum. I've never smelled it. I really wasn't interested in it because it's really a tuberose-based fragrance, and those can be hard for me. I'm just not drawn to, tuberose fragrances. Some I like, but some are just, they don't work out for me. So I did my due diligence. I read about it, and I did blind buy because the Ulta that's near my house or on the way home from my work doesn't carry this. So I got a really good deal at the end of the year from fragrancebuy.ca, and I got this for less than $100, and I'm thrilled with it. First of all, the bottle, the bottle is just, it's beautiful. It's very substantial. It's gorgeous. You can definitely smell the sesame. I love it. Sesame is, you know, kind of front and center, but it does have notes of tuberose, which is fine, but it's not overwhelming. And there's orange blossom in here too, but the sesame and the orange blossom and the tuberose, they kind of play nicely together, and it's a really good fragrance. I appreciate when a designer fragrance tries to go out of the box. I really do. And I think they did a really good job with this one. They did make it a little mass appealing because the sesame it's a sweet sesame. It's not a savory sesame. It's nice and strong, and the dry down is a pretty woody dry down. It's nice. So those who like the original Eau de Parfum may not like this because it's not super heavy in the tuberose department, but it's perfect for me. And I am super glad I got it. So thank you, Tommelise, for this one. Okay, the next fragrance on the list, we're just going to say that the entire YouTube community made me buy it. I think everybody was talking about it and everybody had a bottle but me. And I think it was Sebastian from Smelly Great, and then I heard about it from Steven at Redolessence, and then Emmy from Emmy's World of Fragrance talked about this several times. And I thought, oh, well, maybe I should get a hold of a bottle. I couldn't get a sample, and when I went to go buy it, it was sold out, which made me want it even more. So it finally became available. I was on the wait list and I bought a bottle without smelling it. I almost never do that. I think you guys know what it is. It is Angel Share by Killian. I was kind of nervous when I got it because it's not cheap. $195 for a 50-ounce bottle. That's pricey. When I smelled it, oh my gosh, I thought, oh wow, cold weather holiday. What a perfect cold weather holiday scent this is. And by the way, I mean the bottle, come on, the bottle is just to die for. This is a beautiful bottle. So I'm still getting to know it. I just got it this month. In fact, all these fragrances I just got this month with the exception of one. So I'm still kind of getting to know these fragrances. But, so I wrote the notes down. So the top note is cognac. Truth be told, I don't think I've ever had cognac before. So I don't really know what it's supposed to smell like. Hey, I mean, I appreciate a cocktail like the next person, but my cocktails tend to be, you know, something you can see through, like, you know, a gimlet or like a lemon martini, something very light, very fresh. I don't drink the darker liquors, so I had no idea what cognac smelled like. Middle note, cinnamon tonka oak, and base notes, praline, vanilla, and sandalwood. But when I smell this, I get apple pie. I definitely get apple pie, apple cider. Now, before I bought it, I reached out to Emmy, I think it was through Instagram, and I messaged her and I said, is this really something I need to get, you know, because I'm going to have to blind buy it. She said, it smells like a cinnamon bun, and to me, there are few things that smell better than a cinnamon bun. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna take the plunge. I definitely get that. I definitely get the cinnamon bun vibe. I would say it smells like a cinnamon bun, and instead of the frosting, you know, the regular frosting that you make with powdered sugar and, you know, water, this is a cinnamon bun with the frosting made of like apple cider. So a cinnamon bun with an apple cider frosting. I mean, it's really, really good. It's good. And I do love it. And I think it's beautiful. And the interesting thing is that even though the notes kind of read heavy, these are kind of heavy, rich notes, it's not a thick, overwhelming fragrance. I spray it and I feel like I'm not going to knock out the people around me. It's very pleasant. It's certainly an addictive fragrance. There's no doubt about that. I mean, when I spray it on myself, I just keep wanting to smell it. So, so thank you, YouTube community, for this fragrance. It was a good addition to my collection. I'm happy. The next fragrance on the list is a fragrance I heard about from, I think her name is Eileen from Delicious Delights. Now, I used to watch her or listen to her all the time, and I've kind of slowed down a little bit. I mean, she's very prolific. She puts out videos frequently, and sometimes I get overwhelmed. I feel like I can't keep up with her, so I tend not to watch her as much as I used to. But she talked about this particular fragrance, I mean, it was like 3-4 years ago. And it is Ivory Root by Xerjoff. Man, this bottle's so pretty. You should see the case that this thing comes in. It's very fancy. So this is another one I just got this year, and this has been on my wish list or my watch list for several years. So the top notes are spicy notes. I have them written down. Sandalwood, allspice, patchouli, and basil. So what I get right off the bat, get me a little spray going on. So good. It's very spicy. It's very peppery. It's peppery. Excuse me. It's really good. I inhaled it. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to smell it. Okay. It's very peppery. It's very spicy. But there's this really interesting note immediately that is almost like it's a mentholy note or a eucalyptus note, something green. And eucalyptus isn't mentioned, but it must be the combination of, you know, the basil and the patchouli. You know, patchouli doesn't always have to be, you know, dark and dirty. It can be bright and green. So I think it's that basil patchouli combination. I don't know, it's so addictive. It's so nice because it doesn't smell like anything else. And as it dries down, it just dries down in this beautiful woody sandalwood fragrance. But I definitely get this mentholy eucalyptusy green note is kind of present throughout the life of the fragrance. And I definitely catch myself smelling myself all day. I actually wore this to work, I want to say Friday, and one of my colleagues who tends to like really, you know, floral fragrances, her favorite fragrance is Good Girl Gone Bad. She came up to me and she said, "Oh my gosh, you smell so amazing. You smell like delicious goodness," which surprised me. I didn't think she would like this. It's so, oh man, so good. Now, it is a little reminiscent of one of my favorite fragrances of all time, which is L'air du Désert Américain by Andy Tauer. They are very similar, but there are definite differences. And my bottle of Andy Tauer's it's getting kind of empty. It's getting low, but I just love these type of fragrances. So for me, it makes sense to have both in my collection. You know, if you didn't love these spicy, ambery fragrances as much, you know, you probably don't need both. But I'm super happy I have both, and I'm glad I finally purchased it this month. And thank you, Eileen from Delicious Delights. This is a gem, and I love it. The next fragrance on the list is a fragrance that I got because I heard of this particular line from the Perfume Pros, and they were two adorable females from the UK who used to be perfume reviewers, and I think they stopped doing it a couple years ago, and I adored their videos. They were just really cute and cheeky and fun, and they introduced me to this line by Boucheron. And this particular fragrance is the Iris Base fragrance, and this is Iris de Syracuse. If it weren't for the Perfume Pros, I never would have known about this line in Boucheron. And one of my favorite fragrances, probably top 10, is Ombre d'Alexandra. I absolutely love that fragrance. I've mentioned it before. It's such a good find. And if I didn't know about this line, I wouldn't know. So I've purchased many from this particular line. When they first came out, they were expensive. And this is a humongous bottle. This is like 4 ounces. Now you can get them at the discounters for around $100 or a little bit over that. And I'm so grateful that I discovered this line. This particular one is the floral, and gosh, it's so nice. So it has, this is the only fragrance that I purchased a while back. The rest of the fragrances that I talked about, I think, are all January purchases. But yeah, I got this, I want to say early summer, late spring, but this has pepper, this has pear, this has heliotrope, definitely iris. There's a sweet note, I think there's vanilla in here. This is a super light iris. This is just light and airy. It's not waxy, it's not heavy, and it's not overtly powdery. And I think what gives it its brightness is the pear. This is a perfect office scent. In fact, I wore it sometime this week, and one of my coworkers came up to me and just smelled me. Sarah, if you're watching, I'm talking about you. And she just said, "Oh my gosh, you smell so good, I have to have that." And I made her a little bit of a decant, but it's a great fragrance, and I'm so grateful to the perfume pros for showing me this particular line, because I've enjoyed many, and I wish they would come back and review fragrances, because they were a joy. They were a joy to watch. The next fragrance is a fragrance thanks to Melissa Jean, and if you're watching me, you're watching Melissa Jean. But again, just in case you have been a castaway on a desert island, I'll link everything down below. But she's a fragrance reviewer that I absolutely love. She's my feel-good fragrance reviewer. She makes me laugh every time I watch her videos, and she doesn't even mean to. She sings to her perfumes. She's afraid of atomizers. I mean, and she is the best fragrance shopper ever. I feel like sometimes I get a really good deal on fragrances. She beats me every time. But she did a fragrance review. I think it was Middle Eastern, affordable Middle Eastern fragrances part 2. And I watched her, and I saw this bottle that she held up, and my eyes got about this big. This bottle here, and this is, I have to look down at my notes, it's Qasamat Rasasi, and again, this is a new fragrance for me, so I'm still getting to know it. But when she showed this fragrance, I mean, first of all, I was like, you had me at gold lame, and you had me at slate blue tassels. I mean, I already wanted it. And then she described the notes, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to get that. So the notes are lemon, apple, cedar, sandalwood, leather, and amber. And it sounded amazing. And we sent each other some samples, and we just did like a little sample swap. And we kind of did a little, a virtual pinky swear. That we weren't going to buy anything from the samples that we sent. We have plenty of perfume. This is just enjoy the samples, and then we'll move on. And as I'm, virtually pinky swearing with this hand, I'm over internet going to oud.com and trying to put this in my basket. So don't fall in love with it right now. It's sold out. And it was sold out of oud.com, and I can see why. And I had to do some serious Ethan Hunt, Mission Impossible recon to get it. And it came from overseas, and I paid a ridiculous amount to get it shipped to me, but it was worth every penny. This is such a fresh, refreshing scent. This, if I could sum it up, to me, this is kind of like the Middle Eastern version of Creed Aventus. I love Creed Aventus, and this is kind of this bright Middle Eastern version. It's amazing. It's it's probably, no doubt, going to be one of my favorite purchases of 2021, and we're only 1 month in. So, Melissa Jean, thank you very much for this. This is a gem. So I used to be an incredibly private person, and in many ways I still am. I really shunned social media. I was not involved in social media for a long, long time, and I was a little bit reluctant to start this channel because of it. And I will tell you, the most wonderful part of starting this channel is meeting other YouTubers and meeting my subscribers. And one of my subscribers who holds a very special place in my heart, she is absolutely adorable, and she has sent me samples, and her name is Sammie. And she had sent me a sample of a fragrance that I had heard about before, but was never really interested in buying it. I'd heard about it many, many times. And then she sent me this sample, and I went ahead and sprayed it on myself, and oh my gosh, I think I did laps around my house, making everyone smell me because it smelled so good. And I can't believe that I finally got this fragrance this month. But that is a fragrance by Montale, and that is Chocolate Greedy. Oh my gosh. If you've never smelled this, you're missing something really, really good. So when I smelled this, I immediately thought, this is Cocoa Pebbles. This is Cocoa Pebbles cereal. I'm kind of embarrassed that I know what that smells like, but I do. And it smells delicious, and it is delicious. And to me, it smells just like Cocoa Pebbles. So of course, I made everyone in my house smell me because I was so excited. And my husband smelled it, and he doesn't like the gourmand. Most of the gourmand fragrances that I buy, he does not like at all. In fact, he probably doesn't like 60 to 70% of my fragrances. He doesn't think they smell authentic, especially the gourmands. You know, he thinks they smell fake and artificial. And he smelled this, and he got a big smile on his face, and he said, this smells like hot cocoa. You know, a hot cocoa packet, when you tear open the hot cocoa and, you know, some of that aerosolizes. He says it smells like hot cocoa, and he was right. Oh my gosh, this is an addictive fragrance. This is a fragrance I spray on my bathrobe. I tend to spray kind of comforting gourmands. Oh man, and that makes me kind of hang around in my bathrobe a little bit longer than I need to on the weekends. But oh, amazing, amazing. Sammie, my sweet Sammie. I'm so glad that YouTube has brought us together, and you're a real sweetheart, and thank you so much for introducing me to this amazing fragrance, Chocolate Greedy. So the next fragrance is a fragrance thanks to Emmy at Emmy's World of Fragrance. And again, if you're watching me, I know you're watching Emmy. She's absolutely adorable. I mean, she's glamour girl personified, and I'm quite convinced that when she rolls out of bed in the morning, she's wearing a ball gown. I mean, oh my goodness. And she's got an amazing nose, and she has great taste in fragrances. And when she started talking about this particular fragrance, I thought, I got to get that fragrance. And I bought it blindly because it had all the notes that I really love. And that is Unknown Pleasures by Kerosene. So this fragrance, oh my gosh, this is like the olfactory equivalent of a Rorschach test or an ink test. I mean, everybody smells something different, and it's the same fragrance. First of all, this is a lemon balm. Lemon is one of my favorite scents. I love lemon. Lemon is just one of the best smells ever. And this is a complete and total lemon balm. And I love it. And it stays like this for most of the life of the fragrance. This is supposed to smell like lemon, Earl Grey tea, and waffle cone. I absolutely get the lemon. There's no doubt. I mean, if you don't get lemon in this, get your nose checked. There's lemon. This is one of the strongest lemon notes in a fragrance I've ever smelled. And into the dry down, I do get tea. I get Earl Grey tea. It takes a while to smell it, but I do. I drink tea 2 or 3 cups every single day of the year. Well, every single day from September to February. I'm a huge tea drinker. I tend to drink chai or chai latte. I don't drink a lot of Earl Grey tea. Every once in a while, I'll drink it, but it does smell really, really good. Now, could I tell you that I smelled waffle cone? Probably not. I mean, I smell caramel, vanilla goodness. And if you want to call it a waffle cone, call it a waffle cone. But it's delicious. It is a really, really nice gourmand. And it's funny, my husband who smelled this and said it smelled like Thai food, and my daughter who smelled this said it smells like a coconut cookie. So everybody smells something different, but oh my gosh, it's amazing. And Emmy, thank you so much for this fragrance. It's going to be in my collection for a long, long time. It's a good one. The next fragrance on the list is a fragrance I got thanks to Stephen at Redolessence. And I was sitting in the parking lot waiting for my dogs to be done at the vet. That's just the way things are right now. You can't go in. So what do you think I do? I watch YouTube videos. And I came across this one by Stephen at Redolessence, and it was about the fragrance line that he is the creative director for, and that is the Navitus Parfums. And when they were talking about this one particular perfume, I thought, oh my gosh, that sounds like something I really, really want. I looked into the notes, it sounded really good, and I went to the website and I got a good deal, so I bought it blindly, and that is Absolutio. Now, I've had this since the summer, and every time I do a video, I think about putting this in because it would be a great scent for fall. It's a great winter scent. It's just a great scent. It smells really good. So the notes are here, cinnamon, saffron, almond, apple, toffee, caramel, and dark chocolate. So I definitely, there's no doubt about it, I get saffron. This is pretty heavy on the saffron right away. Oh, it smells good. And whenever you think of saffron, or whenever you hear saffron, of course you're thinking Baccarat 540. This does not smell like Baccarat 540. And even though the notes say apple and toffee and caramel, what my brain interprets is cherry cobbler. I don't bake a whole lot. I bake cherry cobbler and I bake gingerbread cookies. So when I make my cherry cobbler, I always add a little bit of almond extract to the cobbler. And this is precisely what my cherry cobbler smells like. It is phenomenal. I'm picky with my cherries. I like this type of cherry accord or cherry note, even though it's technically apple and caramel. It smells really, really good. I love it. I'm super glad I have it. It was a great blind buy, and Stephen, job well done on this one. The last fragrance on the list is a fragrance that I heard about, is another fragrance from Eileen at Delicious Delights. And she reviewed this in 2018, and she said that this fragrance smelled like a blueberry muffin. And I don't know about you, but smelling like a blueberry muffin sounds really good to me. Now, I had to put it in my wish list for several years because it is by the company Floraiku, and they are really, really expensive. And I thought, do I even really want to open the can of worms and start smelling Floraiku and fall in love with the fragrance that's $350 for a 50-ounce bottle? So I did one better. I got a little travel spray, and it is called One Umbrella for Two. So the notes in this are, I don't even want to spray it and waste the spray, black currant, genmaicha tea, and oh man, cedar oil. Now, I told you I was a big tea drinker, and I love Japanese food. I love sushi. And every time I go to our local sushi restaurant, I always get their genmaicha tea because it's a green tea that has this popped brown rice in it. And it smells as good as it tastes. I absolutely love it. And it absolutely, you can smell it in here. There's no doubt that there's a tea, that genmaicha tea note. Oh my goodness, and it is woody too. It's just one of those you have to keep smelling. Does it smell like a blueberry muffin? I'm not getting blueberry muffin per se because a blueberry muffin to me is very, very sweet. I'm getting more of like a blueberry biscuit or a blueberry scone. You know, something that's not quite as sweet, but still like a bakery gourmand. It's super unique. I absolutely love it. It's a great addition to my fragrances. And will I get a bigger bottle? Probably not. I think I'm just going to enjoy my little travel spray, which is perfect for me. I have plenty of fragrances, and I can enjoy this all the same. So thank you, Eileen, for that one. So that does it for my video. YouTube made me buy it, and am I ever so glad that I did. This was a fun video, and I'm glad I did it. And thanks for watching, and I will see you for the next video.